Republican Senator Ted Cruz. He joins us now from Munich. Senator Cruz, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We've heard of this division between the Europeans and perhaps the United States over this issue of arming the Ukraine military. Where do you stand on that?
Well, George, good morning. It's great to be with you. You know, I'll tell you, this conference in Munich the last 3 days has really highlighted the enormous national security threats that are facing America, that are growing and getting worse. And when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, the path we're on doesn't make any sense. We need to be providing defensive arms to the people of Ukraine. I met yesterday alongside a bipartisan congressional delegation with Ukrainian President Poroshenko, and he made clear that the Ukrainians are fighting to defend their nation. They want to defend their nation. We have a treaty obligation to stand with them, and right now, unfortunately, the Obama administration is not honoring that obligation. We need to come together and provide defensive arms so that they can stand up against this Russian aggression.
I know you've also discussed the battle against ISIS this weekend in Munich, and I know you've said in the past that the answer is to bomb ISIS back to the Stone Age. Most experts say that will not be enough, that you will need ground forces as well. Would you call up American forces if others don't step up?
You know, I don't believe right now we need American boots on the ground, and the reason is we have boots on the ground already with the Kurds. The Peshmerga are trained, effective fighters. They are close allies of us. Just today, I met with the president of Kurdistan, and he made clear that the Peshmerga are ready to fight. They are fighting ISIS. But I'll tell you, George, it makes no sense. Our government is not providing military weapons effectively to the Kurds. Instead, they're shuttling it all to Baghdad, and Baghdad is very slow in getting it to the Kurds. We need to arm the Kurds, and we need to use the Peshmerga as boots on the ground. They're effective, they're ready, they're our close allies.
But if that's not enough, would you be willing to send American ground troops into that battle?
Look, we need to accomplish the mission, and the mission should be defeating ISIS before they succeed in carrying out more horrific acts of terror, before they succeed in murdering Americans. If need be, we should go that step, but it should be driven by the mission. And the first step should be to effectively arm the Peshmerga, use them as boots on the ground, and to use serious, overwhelming air power. The problem is, right now, the Obama-Clinton-Kerry foreign policy has been consistently wrong. It's been wrong on ISIS, it's been wrong on Russia, it's been wrong on Iran. And when it comes to ISIS, our policy of leading from behind, we've seen essentially photo op foreign policy, where we drop a bomb here or a missile there. We need a focused, direct military objective of taking out and destroying ISIS.
ISIS and al-Qaeda also posing a threat to our homeland. As you know, the Department of Homeland Security about to run out of funding by the end of this month. And Speaker Boehner has called you out on your strategy to block that funding in the effort to block the president's executive orders on immigration. Do you have a strategy to implement your plan? It's going to take Democratic votes. Do you have a strategy to get those votes? And if not, what are you going to do to make sure that Homeland Security funding is put in place?
Well, George, I don't agree with the premise of your question. This was not my plan. This was leadership's plan. This was the Cromnibus, which you'll recall in December, I fought vigorously against it. I said, this plan doesn't make sense. It gives away all our leverage, and it's a plan that is designed to fail. So I would ask leadership, this is their plan they designed. Let's see what their next step is. But I'll say two additional things. This past week, we saw Senate Democrats 3 times filibuster funding for the Department of Homeland Security. The Democrats need to stop filibustering funding for DHS. And Republicans, what we need to do is we need to honor the commitments we made to the voters, and that means we need to fund DHS, and we also need to act effectively to stop President Obama's illegal and unconstitutional executive amnesty.
Let me ask you a question about the economy. We saw these new unemployment numbers this week showing the economy's created more than 1 million jobs in the last 3 months, the best record in 17 years. A solid forecast for 2015 as well. What does that do to your party's strategy going forward into 2016? Here's what Kevin Hassett, an economic advisor to John McCain and Mitt Romney, told the Washington Post. He said when Hillary Clinton runs, she's going to say the Republicans gave us a crappy economy twice and we fixed it twice. Why would you ever trust them again? What's the answer?
Well, look, if Hillary Clinton wants to run by telling Americans that the economy is doing great, and you can credit President Obama and Hillary Clinton for that, I would encourage her to follow that strategy. Because the simple reality is that's true for the wealthy. The top 1% under President Obama, the millionaires and billionaires that he constantly demagogues, earn a higher share of our income than any year since 1928. Those with power and influence who walk the corridors of power of the Obama administration have gotten fat and happy under big government. But I'll tell you, hard-working men and women across America are hurting. We today have the lowest labor force participation since 1978. 92 million Americans aren't working, and we've seen wages stagnate.
Sounds like you've got your economic stump speech down. You've also been making the case to donors and activists that the GOP can't go with the establishment candidate this time around. You say Republicans lose when they run to the mushy middle, you've said. Now, I know you like and respect Jeb Bush, but you've also suggested he's part of that mushy middle. What puts him there?
Oh, look, Jeb Bush is a good man. He's a good governor. I respect him. If he chooses to run, it certainly looks like he's going to. He's going to have to make the case to Republican primary voters concerning his record, concerning certainly his support for Common Core, concerning his policies on immigration. And I think we'll have a debate on that. But at the end of the day, I think Republicans are looking for a leader. And I'll tell you, George, what I would urge every Republican thinking about running to do, and this is true of senators, of governors, stand up and lead. I'd be thrilled if 6 months from now we have a half dozen Republicans standing and leading and making the case there is a better way we can get back to the free market principles and constitutional liberties that built this country and made this country a shining city on a hill.
Sounds like a vigorous debate is coming. Senator Cruz, I know you have to catch a plane. Thanks very much.
Thank you, George. God bless you.